We'll pass them down.
It's a surprise.
There's only,
I know they've been having issues with the copier.
We got my binder notes. So
You're trying to
It was
do.
the color favor, it wrecked it, didn't it?
I'm
Now it's like a paper jam.
gonna share with you.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Okay, I can share with you.
Holy crap, this doesn't look like more than an hour.
At all. Okay, so we're gonna call this meeting to order because it is now 6:01. And so let's go ahead and do the roll call. Travis, why don't you start us off?
I'm sure Ward 1.
Brian Creevy, Ward 2.
Deborah McIsaac, Mayor.
Ryan Sending, Ward 2.
Nikki Owen, Ward 1.
Oh, President and accounted for.
Oh.
And so let's go ahead and give pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect. So we just have a couple, it's very standard for the council to meet at the end of the year to just wrap up any loose ends that we need. Primarily, it's for financials as well as any ordinances that we have in place. So the first item that we have is the approval of end of year claims of December 27th. And so, Linda, do you have those claims for us to take a look at really quick? I know she was working at them today.
Forgot the list.
Why don't you go print that off for us and we'll just move it down the agenda? Go grab that for us, okay?
I will do that.
Perfect. And so Linda's gonna print that out for us, and then we'll get that available on the website for everybody. And so now we have the second reading of ordinance 305. That would be from the supplement that we had at the last meeting. And so I don't believe that there was anything on there that we needed to adjust. I think it was just gonna be the second reading, right?
So,
That's 307. We need 305.
Zero 6,
Mr. Back.
307, where is it? 305.
Good shape, someone. Can I get a 305?
Yeah, I know my binder, I bring it. I know.
Let me grab it under the bag.
Oh, yes,
Okay. I don't know, on me.
you're talking this one, right?
Yes. So this was the supplemental budget we had at the last meeting. And she was just detailing out all of the different, is that looking like?
Yeah.
And so, all of the different expenses that we had to adjust, in the general fund, the total appropriations were 82,100, I believe is what it was. And so we did the first reading and everybody was okay. There was no, if I recall correctly, there was no major adjustments to these amounts. And I don't think there was any extra questions. And so this would just be the second reading and we just need to have a motion to approve.
We'll make a motion to approve ordinance 305.
Second.
So we have Travis to make the first and Ryan was doing the second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Now we are on to the supplemental, or excuse me, the 306 water SRF charges. I think we were looking at the billing and we had some changes on there, right? Oh, she made the edit, so it was gonna be 845 was the surcharge, if I recall correctly, because Ryan had made an edit on there.
So it's gonna change from 831 to 845.
Yes. So it's 831 to 845 a month for the SRF surcharge in ordinance 306.
Wow.
So it'll be from 831 to 845. Is that right?
To see the way that this is worded,
Oh, and then we had to figure out the start date. We were gonna start on January.
we were gonna start early.
Oh, yeah, February 1st would have been it, right? Because we need the 20 days to post.
We were gonna start early, so we could start together.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but when I read this, it says, in addition to the other charges the city hereby
Yeah, I believe it's
establishes.
845 surcharge, right?
Is that,
Additional 840.
in addition to 831 is what that reads to me?
Yes.
So it'd be 16 or 17,
So
831 is just
The rate per thousand.
the rate per thousand.
845.
So that's gonna change to 845.
No,
Be added to that.
on your bill, there's just, your bill's gonna be 845 more than it is now.
Okay.
Plus the other, the sewer, which is 815.
So the surcharge essentially is $8.45 to finance the water SRF surcharge. So $8.45 will be an additional line item
Yes.
on the water bill to finance those projects.
Yeah.
Okay, so if everybody is okay with that, because that's just water, the next one's gonna be sewer. Okay. I'm gonna add one thing just to this discussion, not to be problematic, but I wanna bring it up. There have been some concerns about citizens that are on fixed income versus, so then they were asking about that. And so I believe it was Nikki and I that were having a conversation. Do we wanna look at this from a usage standpoint as opposed to a flat rate across? Because there are houses, and I'm just throwing it out here, because I know it's the easiest way is to do a flat rate across to everybody. What we were wondering is if there is a direct correlation with a measurable something to use it. Do you know what I mean? Because like, there's a usage, how do I explain this? One house does not use the same amount of services as another
Gives a
house.
surcharge off your usage essentially.
I don't know how to do it, but there are houses here with, you know, like, with
Well, there's-
people on fixed income that are one person in a house, and they're getting the same surcharge as someone with 5 or 6 people in a house that have, you know, 4 times the use. These single people homes are only, they never hit the minimum even, barely hit the minimum, maybe in a summer month kind of a thing. And then you have people that are exceeding the minimums month after month after month. And so the question and the conversation we had was, is this something worth considering? Even though we recognize flat rate is absolutely the easiest way to do it because it is a benefit to all citizens across the city to do this.
I don't think DANR would do that.
That's what I was gonna say, whatever. the
And we
requirements
talked
are,
about
would
that.
be
We
right
talked
with
about that.
They want the guarantee that it's guaranteed, no question, because if you say you go off the usage and say all of a sudden everybody starts conserving or rural water tells us we have to conserve, then we would lose that.
I'm not suggesting that it would be off usage. I'm just suggesting asking, is there another measure we can use other than just flat rate that mirrors what people actually use without it being used? Like, for example, we do footage because, you know, that is so I don't know if like it's the square foot of a house, which is a stable, you know, a stable measurement. Is that the measure, and then we attach the flat rate to the measure of the house, or do you know what I mean?
Yep. And I think for Danner's fees, it's just per user, so they don't even have to think about.
And so if I understand correctly, because, you know, this is new to me, is Danner prefers the flat rate across the city from a point of calculation?
Correct. It is, it's just so that this municipality is collecting the amount that is needed every month for that, and there is no variation on it.
Well, and I just, I'm not trying to push back on it. It's just that if you have somebody that's used to paying a $70 water bill and now they have an $8 increase, that's a 10% increase. And if you have somebody that's used to paying a $300 water bill and you're only at $8 to it, that's a tiny little increase. And so it's really affecting our smallest users are getting the biggest increase and our biggest users are getting the smallest increase. And so I just because I'm not familiar with industry standards, I'm just questioning. If,
I think what I would look at is like lowering your minimum. You know, having a lower minimum bill every month and then going up. This 3,000 is high for
And
an elderly person.
you could do, I mean, and it all entails, you can do step rates on your per thousand usage, do your flat fee, but after 3,000 gallons,
instead of 831 per thousand, you could go to 850 per thousand after that 3,000. It's all in the accounting. If you get to 10,000, then you go up to $9. It's a way to create revenue. A lot of the times it helps with, it's conservation, because then the higher someone's like, well, I'm gonna keep paying this high water bill, I'm gonna start conserving water. But it's a way to offset your revenue, and I think just with everything, Danner's looking at the whole scope, so they want that big pool, so the surcharges on that, so I think even like trying to adjust the usage rates or the per thousand,
Mhm.
then it's going to start pulling money away from our other coffer, where then I think they're gonna say, well, now you're not feasible on having your 10% bank in your regular account because now you can decrease your water rate. I think it's just, they like the numbers, they like having everything 100% guaranteed, or it's actually over 100%. I think they usually want your numbers.
Okay.
And I think, yeah,
Well, I feel better that we've discussed at least the options and understanding where that comes from, because I think it's important to be able to address that when somebody asks
it's
it.
unfortunate for those fixed incomes that they get the same usage, especially they're the ones that are probably not using as much water, especially the elderly. And just to make everything work for numbers wise, it's just kind of why it's straight across the board.
Because we're about to pass another surcharge.
Mhm.
So I just wanted that to be top of mind for everybody. And understanding the logic behind it. Okay, so we have this baseline water surcharge of $8.45 to pay for the upcoming infrastructure projects that we have.
Make a
Is it-
motion to approve.
Travis is making the motion to,
I'll second it.
and then Brian's doing the second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay, then that passes. We're on to 307 for the sewer SR charges. Linda, this is also an additional charge, right?
Yep.
And it will be for $8.15. Is that correct?
Yep.
And so this will be a monthly charge that goes on top of the water bill, excuse me, the sewer bill, for $8.15 to pay for the upcoming infrastructure charges. I do want to add something to this, is that this is the, if I understand it correctly, this is absolutely the standard that we have used since ever to help pay for these water sewer infrastructure projects. And so this isn't something that we're doing that's new. It's just that we've done projects in the past and they've been paid off. And now we're doing another project and we're gonna have to do this and then we'll have to pay it off. And so that's how this is done.
I'm not sure if they've ever had surcharges before.
Well, we've had other projects before where we've had to redo.
Yeah, they probably just did an increase in
Increase,
rate.
we did this big, right,
Yeah.
you had to go from like, it was like 4 something up to the
A couple
$7.
years ago, the DENR started pushing, surcharges.
Is that because
Before-
they wanted a direct
Yeah.
line item? So
And
they
then
get this
they
from an
do
accounting standpoint
What you
that
had
that's,
to put back for you, because before that, you just were told to increase your rates.
got it.
And now sometimes you have to increase your rates plus have a surcharge, depending on how big the project is.
I just think it's really important people understand
Yeah,
that this is how these types of projects get financed.
that's probably why they did it, so everybody knows this is for this project.
Well, surcharge to it first, that there's an end to it someone.
Yeah,
Whereas just a water rate increase is for life.
That's a good point, Brian.
And it would be to say, if you wanted to cover your surcharge amount, well, you adjust your water rate for $1 per thousand to cover that. Or if you go $3 to get it for surely by your 3,000 minimum, well, then it's going to punish the high users because they're going to be paying more of a higher usage rate for 10,000. So you're going to make a lot of money probably, but to cover it, because you got to figure out where's that happy medium on covering it with just the 3,000 usage and make more on top of that, but your rates get kind of high at that point.
and, they did say, whatever extra we bring in, we can apply to it. They said we don't have to, but I think it's a good idea to do.
Yeah,
So
as
because
fast
it-
as possible.
So as that direct accounting method, we can either pay it off faster if we end up collecting the money faster, or we can put that in the hopper for another water sewer project,
Right.
depending on what the needs of the city are.
You bet.
Does wastewater projects fall under water sewer projects?
Like for the wastewater pond? Yeah,
Yes.
that's sewer.
Okay, so
That
that
was
was under
100% sewer.
Okay, and so these two projects, the 306 and the 307 are specifically for what projects then? The 4th to 5th loop and 6th to 7th loop and the lift station?
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Well, and
One more thing.
Oh,
second,
and second and Oak. So this is actually for 4 projects, so everybody's clear about that. And so if you have any questions about these projects, please don't hesitate to talk to your alderman about it. It's all very well documented. It's all on the city website. So that's the explanation on that. So now that, is there any other questions you think we need to answer? Okay, so we have the second reading of the ordinance 307. Do we have a first and a second?
Are you gonna put a date in?
February 1st. I thought.
Yeah, February 1st is what we discussed before.
Yeah.
Because we have to wait post-publishing.
But I mean,
Well,
yeah,
that's-
we have to publish though.
That's from last month. Yeah, our last meeting, I didn't print all new ones, but this one has February. 1st.
Okay.
So February 1st would be the date.
These have, you know,
Good question. Thank you.
Well, the calendar, but it-
Went to 24.
You know, and there are some cities that might have 6 surcharges
Right.
on their water bill. So Baltic has done really well in having low rates and not having to have
But
surcharges.
conversely, that also means that we haven't necessarily addressed all of our infrastructure needs either. So
That's
now
sometimes what happens
So-
when you keep your rates low.
there's a
you're not
pro and a
doing
con to
projects,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah, and so, yeah,
So it's hard though, it's, you know, it's a hard lesson when all of a sudden the bill goes up.
right. So we should probably get that in the shopper, Lacey, so people are starting to be prepared for that. Okay, so we have 307 on the table. You're the first.
Make a motion to approve.
Travis is making a motion to approve in a second.
Second.
Brian's gonna do the second on that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion passes. 2023 SMG assignment, that is simply, if you guys remember a couple months ago, we did the assignment where, I was the main contact to go to the SMGA meetings, and then if I wasn't able to make it, then Ryan Sinding was the contact. Well, that was something that should have started back in January when none of us were in office, and so we had to get that together. And so it's really, so if it feels like we just did this a month or two ago, it's because we did. So now this is the actual 2023 that will be active for 12 months. And so we just need to pick our contacts. It would be reasonable to just keep everything in play. Ryan, you've been to a meeting, I've been to a meeting, and so, if we're okay with that, we can do that. If you want to suggest something else, we can suggest something else. Can you have a motion in place, because we have to pass a motion?
Make a motion to approve Deb and Ryan as, representatives. The FMGA.
I'll second.
So we got a Travis and a Ryan. For Deb and Ryan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good to go there. Justin Hine submitted the project.
Hey Deb, just for awareness, I just jumped on the Teams meeting too.
Okay,
I
I just-
apologize for not being there in person, so if there's any questions, I'm here to answer them.
No, thank you for being here, Justin.
Go to do the paper.
What did I have filed? I hope you're not on the side of the road in the dark, Justin. Okay, so this is the proposal for the scope of services that we had asked him to provide for us. It is, the loop, or excuse me, the water tower extension from 4th to 5th, as well as closing the loop on 6th to 7th. It includes a topographic, how do you say it, topographic and boundary survey, the design, typical design, bidding. The construction administration, the construction observation, the staking, any reimbursable expenses, which is pretty standard, which is the travel mileage and renting, things like that. The schedule would be to survey in December, January, Design would be January to March, bidding would be April, construction and administration would be made in October, and project completion would be slated for October 2023. So, you can see that their compensation is broken down and estimated, expenses $150,000.
And this is to cover which projects, all four of them,
No, the looping.
just the both
This is-
looping?
Yeah, this is 4th to 5th and 6th to 7th, right, Justin?
That's correct, Deb.
Thank you. Any questions for Justin? Ryan, you had some time to review this as well. Did it look pretty industry standard? Is there any?
Yep, I can plan for it.
Okay. And Justin's worked pretty closely with Ryan Fods on all of this, and ISG has proven to be very receptive to being fair and equitable in all of their interactions with the city of Baltic. So that's my feedback on this. So basically, when you guys are ready, I would just need a motion to give me the authority to be able to sign this acknowledgement of acceptance of these terms and enact the contract on the behalf of City of Baltic. With Linda testing, of course.
So construction observation is the actual construction.
Having a site, usually a representative on site watching the project. And then doing the as-built and documenting and all that stuff.
And just to add more note on that, Ryan, as well, we have that one as estimated time and materials. I would expect to be under that or not exceed that 52,000. Especially as we're talking about other projects within the city, there will be some efficiencies to having more than one project going on in town for that construction observation. I do think that's a very critical aspect to the project as well, and I think Ryan can attest to that. Just making sure we get everything done, completed, get it done right. But having those few projects will make that one guy a little more efficient, being able to bounce around too. So.
Have you taken into account the shortages of pipe and other material and the
So that-
expense of it?
Yep, so that went into the construction cost estimate, which was a little over $1 million. I think a lot of those supply demands have evened themselves out a little bit. Talking to some contractors here lately, they haven't had too high of concern, at least on these, I'm going to call them normal sized water main pipe and stuff. There will likely be some delays on some items. But that's why I'm trying to push pretty hard on our design schedule too. So typically that design schedule, I have it January to March. Really, by the time we get survey done, we can call it January now. It would be mid-January. It's a pretty tight timeline on that design. But I want to get this project out to bid in that March timeframe. That way those contractors can start procuring those material and stuff. So if they can start procuring material in March, they should be ready to go by time the construction season starts.
Question? Any other questions? Travis? Ms. Nikki? Are we ready to move forward on this? Or is there other questions you need answered, and any other discussion that you want to have?
Make a motion to approve.
So you would need to make a motion to give the mayor the authority to sign this agreement on behalf of the city and have it attested by the mayor.
Make a motion to approve and have the mayor act on the city's behalf and sign under the watchful eye of Linda.
I'll second that.
So we have a first and a second. Oh, shoot. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Now we're back to, our end of year claims. And we'll get this on the website so everybody can see it.
Can you walk me through the 20K contribution for the Baltic Fire Department on here?
I can actually do that. That was, an approved expense, by the previous administration made before any of us took office that was never actually paid to the fire department. And so, in the effort of trying to wrap things up for year end, we discovered that that was not paid, so we need to get it paid. I think Travis will recall that we originally had budgeted 40.
Yeah, you generally it's voted every year. The fire department has not gone up in rates for, oh my God, it
Long
was
time.
ever, basically. And it was at 16,000 forever. There was a lot of talks at that time about, how much of an increase they wanted, and Mike Koopman said, just go up to 20,000, and that's basically your service from the fire department.
As the annual charge.
Yep.
So when
Was it from the sheriff's office or anybody?
Right, when was it voted on then?
It was actually voted on in 2021
Okay.
for the 22 budget.
Is it normal to wait this long before?
No.
I told Mike, I said, just ask for it. Sooner.
Right, no, that's what I'm wondering.
It was just sitting there.
Yeah,
It was just
okay.
sitting there.
It's in the budget and yeah, usually.
Right.
I know Colton's the same, Bell's the same, it just depends on
Yeah.
if they want it right away or whenever. it's-
So Linda told Mike to say, call in January now. We'll get you your
Right.
2023 right
Right,
away.
yeah. That makes, yeah.
Just, yeah, we'll do next year sooner.
I'll have to put that on the agenda.
Good catch.
Did it just get forgotten about?
I don't know. I don't know
Well,
what.
I've had it happen before where fire departments, I don't know if they're shy or what, but it's not just. I know, it's not on my radar, but it's like, just
It-
ask.
It
just
is,
ask.
it is a payable, we happily
Yeah.
pay. Would you not agree?
Right,
That is,
right.
Right.
it is our
absolutely.
pleasure to give to our fire department. We are
So
very
we have to
grateful for
work
what
on
they do.
something for next year.
We've already approved
Sorry,
it.
no,
It
okay.
already, it's in the.
It's already been in the
Okay.
budget prior to your watch.
Okay.
Good question.
Did the, utility billing, deposit, has that gone down or gone?
The reason that their odd amounts is because I subtract their 140 deposit from their bill.
No, this one is for $50 and I
Oh,
recall,
that's from an old one, for an
I
old one.
recall, do you remember going to that meeting where, an older gentleman up on Johnson or Kringen wanted his $40 back?
That was Bud Skanky.
Well, I didn't wanna name names.
Right.
Yeah, no, I looked back on her account and she must have lived here quite a while,
Yeah.
Yeah,
because way back
15,
then,
20
it was
years ago.
50, maybe it's gone down since then.
and it's gone up, it's
Yeah.
140 now.
Yeah.
Usually it's enough to cover.
Maybe this was 140 then.
It was, yeah, he wanted 140, he wanted this entire deposit back.
Well.
Yeah.
I had 40 on my brain, sorry about that.
Yeah, so it went from, must have gone from 50 to 100 and then to 140. Cause those are the ones I've seen on the account.
Yeah, so I know it used to be, it's usually just to cover, a lot of times you use your deposit to pay your last month's water bill and then send the refund. And
Yeah,
at the $100, which was years ago, it wasn't enough to usually cover that bill, so then they.
Ryan,
increased it.
can you explain the snow removal maintenance? I was under the impression we took care of all of our snow removal maintenance under the cities.
Or-
Northern Truck Equipment?
That's like cutting edges.
Oh, so that's more equipment than
Yes,
anything.
that's a cutting edge.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I can see how someone might think that we're contracting for snow removal
Right,
maintenance with that line item.
Did
But
that-
I just want to be very clear that we don't contract out.
Oh, no, these aren't for that plowing.
No, that's not.
Plowing out those yet.
So have those parts been paid for, the parts we're waiting on, or?
No,
No, we have to pay for that yet.
Yeah.
How much is that gonna cost?
that's
lot.
only $2,500 for those edges for that push box.
So right now, that piece of equipment's just been sitting since when?
I've used it very limited for the last 3 snows.
Okay,
So,
so they just haven't ever got us the complete.
Oh, no, we got it, but it wore out, right?
What,
The cutting edge for that new cut, that new blade.
we're still waiting for with the snowstorm and everything, it got delayed. It came from Canada, got into the States, then it got delayed there, then it got shipped to the wrong RDO store. And then they're shipping it to here, and
Okay.
then we got the blizzard, and then they said we don't know where it's at, so.
It's pretty much average shipping right now.
Yep,
Right.
so we're still waiting on it to show up in Sioux Falls.
Okay.
Next time, we're gonna have to get our parts from Amazon, huh?
Is there multiple pieces to that?
I measured them up, so it's a 10-foot blade.
Yeah.
And then it's got 2.5-foot wings.
Okay.
So each section is a foot on the blades part, and then it's a 2.5-foot wing section. And so then they all combine to make the
Mechanical outside wings.
hydraulic.
Hydraulic, yeah. Can you run a box?
Yeah, that's what its main function is so you can be a plow, but then you can also turn it right into a box and you can just start pushing it.
Heavy stuff.
Which would be really efficient if we had all of the parts and it would last longer and we didn't have to order replacements from Canada.
The one thing is, and it is, I think, with just the carbon cutting edges, we use it pushing up and down the streets for cleaning the whole downtown.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of usage on it. If it was just set up for a plow like what we have using right now, it'd hard to get, it's just on the city streets where the rubber edge is a benefit, because then you're not burning up carbon steel all the time. So that's the one thing. So I think it's a great piece of equipment. It's just what it's being used is you're always burning the cutting edges. It's just like, but they're not cheap compared to like what a plow for a blade or
Right.
for a blade.
Aren't they like 10 times more expensive or something?
I don't know the expense, but they're not compatible because the width is different.
Mhm. But yeah, so like
Excuse me.
my 1-foot section is it's good. So you take off the wings are like $600 a piece. So then you're down to 1,800 or no. Yeah, so you're down to 12, yeah, 1,300. So each of those is like $100. Well, for that 4-foot on the pickup plow, that's $300. So it's more expensive per foot for that push box.
And you can put more down pressure on the push box than you can on the chuck plow.
Yeah,
And, and you have to buy all of them. You can't just
Correct.
do bits and pieces, because if something happens,
yeah.
So it was a good idea, but maybe not thought through as far as the maintenance and how it was used and things like that. I mean, it's gonna happen.
It works for, like the cul-de-sacs is great because then I can
Oh,
box
sure.
it, push it right up down the hill.
Yeah.
And then spread it out down the street and not up in the cul-de-sac.
Right,
So it's really got great functions on it.
yeah.
It's just, I think for downtown is where it gets burnt up. It's just a lot of waste right there because you're just burning, going.
So can we
back
just
and
not
forth.
use it?
Or it's, I don't. That's the thing that's designed for downtown. The plow does not.
That's a good retrofit, make something else work on it.
Get some duct tape and some rubber bands.
You get enough farmers in the winter time, you could make it happen.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's true. It's true.
Well, I don't know that when Miles asked for that, if the cost of the blades was ever piece of the information that was given.
That is actually a really good point. It probably
Things like-
wasn't discussed.
And I don't think anybody thought it would be
But
that
everybody
expensive.
has, yeah.
Because for cutting edges on a blade are probably $400 for an 8-foot section, so you're
Yeah.
putting.
I can assure you, everyone at City Hall was very surprised when we found out the replacement cost. I can
And
assure
but
you.
even the pickup edges, and I'll say from last year, they were buying them for $220 an edge, now they're at $295 an edge.
Yeah.
And northern where I had to get edges are $40 more than where I'm gonna get some edges.
I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands that our snow removal is handled in-house with our
Correct.
2 amazing maintenance workers, because there was hearsay that we are contracting out, which is not the case.
No.
just
No,
keep
and the
researching
reason-
edges, I guess.
Yeah, I don't put
Find
equipment
the
down
cheapest.
because
The
it
biggest.
wears out too
Yeah.
quick to be equipment.
Yep, that makes sense. That makes sense. Does anybody have any other questions? Because these are good questions. Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the end of the year claims.
so Nikki is going to make a motion for the end of year claims. For a second,
One in.
Second.
you got one in, didn't you? Ryan made the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, my gosh, that is the end of our business for 2022. Thank you all for a lovely and happy year. Looking forward to 2023. I need a motion to adjourn.
I will happily make the motion.
Travis is making the motion to adjourn.
6:35.
Travis, and I do have a second.
Second.
Ryan's doing the second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Then we are good to go.
For the New Year's resolution, you should have all meetings last this year.
I know it'll be our goal. It'll be our goal. But you know, the whole point is that the citizens hear the discussion. It's important.
We could do that probably after 4 week.
We should make it, we should make the ratio of how many citizens are here the time. If there's 10 here, 20 minutes, then it's 2.5 hours. But if there's only one citizen here, 20 minutes.
I gotta say, I love it when people come